How you doing? My name is Chad Houston, and I will be your chemistry teacher this year for the 2022-23 school year. I am thrilled and excited. I teach academic chemistry. We've got a great, awesome team this year. So the goal for this is just to sort of welcome you and to give you for parents and students, just to give you some information about chemistry this year, which is sometimes called academic chemistry. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been probably teaching for a little over 30 years. I can honestly say I've never had 2 years that have been the exact same. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about teaching chemistry. I've gone back to school or done workshops or professional development every year. This summer, I was at Purdue for 3 or 4 days with about 1,300 other college and high school chemistry teachers. And really, the goal is just to figure out, learn, and practice different ways that we can make chemistry much more accessible and exciting for kids. And that's the goal. So let's talk about this. Is sometimes called chemistry or academic chemistry. It's essentially the study of matter and how things interact. What's the difference between the levels? I always get that a lot. Academic chemistry is much more the what. It means this is a course where the course that this is for is that you're probably, students are going to do something in post-secondary, may or may not be science. One of the big things that we work hard on is, and again, in all the science classes, is to say, here's some data. Here's some really good background information. Can you use this in a reasonable way to support an argument? And those skills, whether or not you ever take chemistry ever again or a science class, can be used in a lot of other classes as well. So that's something that you'll see across the board. The accelerated chemistry is more not just the what of chemistry and matter, but the what and the how. And then AP is more like a college course that deals with the what, the how, and the why. So here's an example. I try to make it as hands-on as minds-on as possible. This is a very common example that we would use to say, okay, so if we, put some drops of stuff of a solution on a penny, how many of those drops can fit? What's the mass of those drops? What's the volume of those drops? Is there a way that we could use that information? And if you were to compare your data with a lot of other data, maybe 4 or 5 unknown solutions, would you be able to figure out which one I have? And most importantly, who cares and why is that important? Well, currently right now, with the huge problem in the environment, everyone's always trying to figure out if there's a spill or if something happens or there's something in the water, what exactly is it? That's exactly kind of what we're doing right here. That's just one example. We have everything from the chemistry of coffee roasting, bread baking, the chemistry of chocolate, what's the real difference between soda and diet soda. I can go on and on and on. A lot of really cool stuff. Unfortunately, this is only a short amount of time here. A couple of things that we'll be using is quite a few things. Canvas. So this is a big switch, and I'm going to need your patience. We're switching over to a new learning management system. This year, it's sort of like in the works. Next year, it'll be official. So we're transitioning over. I think it's a great system. I was on the committee that helped research all this. So that'll be helpful. I also have a YouTube station with over about 150 videos. 99.9% of them are no more than a few minutes long. And they're all arranged in playlists with the topics that we use. So that might be helpful as well. A couple other things that might be helpful is this. I would encourage everyone to have goggles, but also a notebook. We're going to be using this. And it's more like not just taking notes, but trying to be much more interactive and purposeful on how we do it. You'll be basically making your own textbook, which I think is pretty cool. A couple other things. Something else that you may not be used to is we'll be doing standards-based grading. I've been doing this now for about 4 or 5 years, and there are more teachers in the school that'll do it. Essentially, every graded assignment that we do, there's going to be a standard plastered to it with a rubric. As an example, I can quantitatively and qualitatively analyze some data to determine to develop a conclusion. Okay, let's say we're doing that like the last experiment. It's basically a ranking of 0 to 4. 4 means you exceed the expectation, you did awesome. 3 means you meet it, and so on. And then there's 2, 1, and 0. 0 is just no evidence, basically. And then that will ultimately translate into a grade. But the thing with standards-based grading, it's all about mastery and levels of sort of like where you're at with a specific standard. If you're either at you, if you're developing or lower on those standards, and we'll talk more about it. There's ways you can actually redo the standard. I've got that set up so where if there's one you're struggling with, you can redo it and have your grade go back up. So it's really not about the points; it's about developing. All the research says the feedback that's given to students is extremely helpful, much more so than just saying, "Hey, you scored an 81% on this thing." Couple other things. If you're ever struggling at any point, and I know we're seeing this throughout the world post-pandemic on anything, please don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. It's okay not to be okay. Let us know what's going on. Maybe you don't want to open up to your chemistry teacher. I get it. Grab an adult, talk to them. We do care. We are here for you. Also, something else, we'll talk about this later as well. Very practice that we'll be doing in all the science classes: no cell phones unless it's being used in the experiment, and need to be here on time. We'll get to that later. So hope you guys have a great day. I am thrilled to be your teacher. I can't wait. I think we're gonna have a great year.